Halloween night, 2021. A long, empty highway cutting through the woods of northern Oregon. A man drives home after a Halloween party, drunk on exhaustion, not alcohol. He doesn't know that somewhere behind him, headlights are following, and that the driver in that car has already killed twice tonight. My name's Dylan. I was 27 when this happened. I used to live in a small town called Klatskanee, up near the Oregon border. At the time, I worked at a logging company and drove long hours every week. Halloween that year landed on a Sunday, so my coworkers and I decided to throw a small get-together at the shop after closing. We had pizza, cheap beer, and even a few decorations one of the guy's kids made. It was supposed to be a simple night, and it was, until I drove home. I left around 11:45 p.m. The roads in that part of Oregon are nothing but winding forest routes. No lights, no houses, just trees and asphalt stretching forever. My route home usually took 40 minutes, but I was tired enough that I just wanted to zone out and get there fast. I remember driving in silence for a while, just the hum of the tires and the soft rattle of my old Ford Ranger. No radio, no music, just quiet. Then, maybe 10 minutes into the drive, I saw a pair of headlights appear in my rearview mirror. Nothing unusual, except they were coming up fast, too fast. The car behind me got so close that its lights filled my whole truck cab with white glare. I tapped my brakes to signal them to back off. They didn't. Instead, they swerved left, then right, like they were taunting me. I figured it was just some drunk kid trying to mess around on Halloween night. So I pulled over to let them pass. But they didn't pass. They slowed down too, staying a few car lengths behind me. I waited. Nothing. Finally, I thought, screw it, and got back on the road. And just like that, the headlights started following again. I'm not the kind of guy who gets scared easily. But something about that night, the emptiness of the road, the sound of my own heartbeat, it started to feel wrong. I kept checking the rearview mirror, and every single time, those headlights were there. Never too far, never too close, just following. About 15 minutes later, I passed a green mile marker. 63. There's a small rest stop near there, one of those pull-offs with a single vending machine and a light post. I figured if I pulled in, maybe I could see who was behind me. So I did. I turned off the road and parked. The car behind me slowed down, and for a second I thought it would pass by. But no, it stopped too, right at the entrance to the pull-off. Its engine stayed running. No one got out. I watched through my side mirror, but the glare from their headlights made it impossible to see inside. I could only make out the shape of the car, a dark sedan, maybe a Chevy Impala or something similar. Black paint, no front plate. I waited, hands tight on the steering wheel. The air felt thick. Finally, I decided to act first. I threw my truck in reverse and flicked my high beams on. For a brief moment, I could see them. A man sat behind the wheel wearing what looked like a white Halloween mask. Not plastic, more like cloth, stitched together like a scarecrow's face. He didn't move, didn't flinch, just stared straight ahead, like he was waiting for me to do something. That was it. I floored it. I shot back onto the road, tires squealing, and the second I did, his car followed again. No hesitation, no delay. He matched my speed perfectly. I hit 70, then 80. The road curved and dipped, but he stayed glued to me like a shadow. At one point, I even turned off my headlights to lose him. But within seconds, I saw his lights again, cutting through the dark like twin eyes hunting me. I grabbed my phone from the dash mount and dialed 911, hands shaking as I tried to keep the truck straight. The dispatcher picked up, and I blurted out that someone was following me on Highway 30, that he'd been tailing me for over 20 minutes. The dispatcher told me to stay on the line and drive to the nearest gas station or populated area. Problem was, there weren't any for another 15 miles. As I was talking, I glanced in the rear view again, and nearly drove off the road. The other car's headlights were gone. Just gone. No one behind me. One. The dispatcher said,
"Are they still following you, sir?"
I said, "No, I don't see them anymore." She told me to keep driving, that a patrol car would meet me near the town limits. I thanked her, hung up, and tried to calm down. I remember thinking I'd overreacted. Maybe it was just some idiot playing a prank. But then I saw something ahead on the right shoulder. A shape. A car. Parked with its lights off. Same shape. Same dark sedan. My chest tightened. He'd somehow gotten ahead of me. As I passed it, I looked out the passenger window. The figure was standing just beside the car, still wearing that mask. He wasn't playing anymore. He wanted me off the road. I saw his car swerve toward my tail multiple times, bumping the back of my truck once hard enough to make me fishtail. The impact sent my heart racing. I could smell burnt rubber. I screamed out loud in frustration and fear. No one could hear me. I hit 90 mph, and all I could see were the yellow lines flashing beneath the beams of my headlights. Then, up ahead, I spotted Salvation, the glowing sign of a Chevron station. I pulled off the highway, tires screeching as I cut across the entrance. The sedan didn't follow this time. It slowed on the main road and stopped. Then its headlights went out again. I stayed in the station parking lot, breathing hard, watching. It never moved. 10 minutes later, 2 sheriff's cruisers pulled in. I told them everything. They searched the road and the woods around the highway marker, but never found the car. They took my statement, told me to head home carefully, and to call again if anything else happened. I got home at 1:30 a.m. and locked every door and window. The adrenaline wore off, and I started shaking. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I got a call from the county sheriff's office. They told me something that made my blood run cold. Around 2 a.m., about 30 minutes after I'd gotten home, another driver on the same stretch of highway reported finding an abandoned black Chevy Impala, engine still warm, parked near mile marker 63. Inside the trunk, they found blood. And a Halloween mask. Stitched cloth. 2 of them never made it home. Their bodies were found in the woods. Both cars had been forced off the road. The press started calling him the road killer. Police said he was still out there. I moved out of Klatskaney a few months later. Couldn't handle those drives anymore. Every time headlights appeared behind me at night, I'd break into a cold sweat. That was 3 years ago. Now I live in Portland, a city with streetlights, cameras, people everywhere. But even now, whenever I drive home late on Halloween night, I can't help but check my mirror every few seconds. Because sometimes, when the road gets dark enough, I swear I can still see them. Those same headlights. Too close. Too steady. Following. It's easy to think monsters wear masks only once a year, but the truth is, some of them never take them off. If you're ever driving alone at night and see the same headlights behind you for too long, don't ignore it. Pull into the light. Call for help. Because not everyone on the road is just heading home. If this story made you check your rearview mirror, hit that subscribe button and stay close. Because on this channel, the next story might just be the one following you. Halloween night. The air was cold, the sky orange from the streetlights, and the town felt empty, like everyone had gone somewhere else. But not me. I was still stuck at work, the last one in the office. By the time I clocked out, it was almost midnight. And when I stepped outside into that near-silent parking lot, I realized something was waiting for me. Something that didn't want me to leave. My office sits at the edge of town, next to a small forest and an abandoned strip mall. It's the kind of place that looks normal during the day. But once the sun goes down, you start to feel like you're not supposed to be there. Everyone had left by 9 p.m. for a Halloween party. I stayed late, finishing reports for Monday. By the time I powered down my computer, the only light left was from the exit sign. When I walked through the lobby, I noticed the vending machine humming louder than usual. It was strange how loud everything felt once the people were gone. As soon as I stepped outside, the silence hit me like a wall. The wind had stopped, the street was empty, and only one streetlight flickered near the back of the lot. My car was parked in the far corner. Normally, I like that spot. Less chance of someone scratching the paint. But that night, it looked like the last place on earth I wanted to walk toward. Still, I started walking. My shoes crunched on the gravel. That's when I noticed there was another car. A dark blue sedan, parked 3 spaces over from mine. Its engine was off, but the headlights were faintly glowing, like they'd been on too long. And in the driver's seat, someone was sitting. At first, I thought maybe another late worker. But the figure didn't move. Didn't check a phone. Didn't look up. Just sat there. I slowed down. The only sound was the hum of the building's air vent behind me. Then the figure's head turned. Slowly. Until it was facing me. I couldn't see their face. Just the pale reflection of it in the windshield. But I felt it. The eyes. Watching. I tried to act normal, unlocked my car, and got in fast. The door slam echoed like a gunshot. I locked it right away. When I looked up again, the sedan's headlights turned off. Just darkness now. I started my car, trying to calm down. Maybe someone waiting for a ride. Maybe a trick or treat prank. Then my phone lit up on the passenger seat. Notification. Motion detected near your vehicle. My car doesn't even have cameras. I glanced up at the rearview mirror, and there, for half a second, I saw something move in the back seat. I froze, heart racing, turned slowly. Nothing. Just my jacket on the seat. I let out a shaky laugh. I was losing it. Halloween and too much coffee. But when I turned the key, the radio came on. Only static. Then, under the static, I heard a voice whisper, "Don't look back." I shut off the radio immediately. My hands were trembling. And that's when my headlights flickered. Once, twice, like something had passed in front of the car. I leaned forward to see through the windshield. The blue sedan was gone. I looked left, right. No taillights, no sound, nothing. Just an empty lot. I took a deep breath and started driving. The GPS glitched for a second. The voice said, "Turn around." Then it cut off completely. The drive home was only 10 minutes, but it felt like forever. Every street was empty, every light green. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was following me. When I pulled into my apartment complex, I checked my mirror again, and my heart stopped. Gratitude is the key to true happiness. The blue sedan was parked across the street. No lights, no engine sound, just sitting there. I rushed upstairs, locked every door, turned on every light. For hours, I sat on my couch, staring through the blinds, but the sedan never moved. Finally, around 3 a.m., I started to relax. I told myself maybe I imagined it. Maybe the guy lived nearby. I went to the bathroom to splash some water on my face. When I came back, my phone was buzzing on the couch. Unknown. Number.
You left your car unlocked.
I stared at the screen, trying not to breathe. Then another message popped up. Look outside. I didn't want to, but I did. Pulled the curtain just a little, and there it was, the blue sedan parked right under my window this time. Its interior light was on, and in the driver's seat was me. Same face, same jacket, sitting perfectly still, staring up at my window. I dropped the curtain and backed away. The phone buzzed again. We can switch now. That's when the lights in my apartment went out. I didn't move, didn't breathe, just stood there in total darkness until dawn. When I finally got the courage to look outside again, the sedan was gone. Everything looked normal. But when I went down to my car that morning, I found something scratched into the side door. 4 words. "You drove home last, you." I sold that car 2 days later. Didn't even want the cash, just wanted it gone. But sometimes when I drive past my old office late at night, I still see that blue sedan parked in the corner, empty, quiet, waiting. And sometimes I swear I can see my reflection inside it, smiling back. Halloween night was never something I cared about much, but this year felt different. I had just moved into a small house in a quiet part of town, a place I could finally afford. It was supposed to be peaceful. Until the first night I heard a voice walking through my house. It started around 2:30 a.m., the kind of silence that feels too heavy, like the air is watching you. I was lying in bed, half asleep, when I heard the floor creak outside my bedroom. At first, I thought it was the wind. Old houses make noise. Everyone says that. But then, it came again, step by step, slow, heavy. The sound was coming down the hallway, like someone walking barefoot on wood. I sat up, my heart pounding, listening. Nothing, just quiet again. I grabbed my phone, opened the flashlight, and aimed it at the door crack. No shadows, no movement. Still, I called out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" No answer. I checked the time, 2:37 a.m. I got out of bed, opened the door slowly, and looked down the dark hallway. Everything looked normal, except for one thing. My front door was wide open. Cold wind poured inside, blowing the thin curtains. I swear I had locked it before sleeping. I walked over, shut it, and double-checked the deadbolt. Then I noticed something on the floor, bare footprints leading from the door, straight toward my bedroom. I followed them slowly. They stopped right at my bedroom doorway and vanished. That's when I heard it. A voice, faint but clear. It came from the living room. a whisper dragging through the dark. It said, "You left me outside." I froze. It didn't sound like anyone I knew. Low, broken, like someone speaking through water. I wanted to run, but instead I called out again, "Who's there?" No answer. I grabbed the nearest thing I could, a metal lamp, and walked toward the sound. The air got colder with each step. When I reached the living room, my breath turned white. All the lights were off, except one. The porch light was flickering through the front window, and for a second, I saw a figure standing outside, tall, thin, and still. I took a step closer to the window, and the light went out. Pitch black. I turned on my phone flashlight and aimed it outside, but there was no one there. The yard was empty. I locked the door again, checked the windows, even looked under the bed like a kid. Nothing. By 3 calls a.m., I finally tried to sleep again, and that's when I heard the voice, this time inside the room, closer, almost behind me. It said, "Don't lock me out again." I jumped out of bed and turned on the light. No one was there. The footprints gone. Everything was normal again. The next morning, I thought maybe it had just been a dream, a mix of exhaustion and moving stress, until I went outside to grab the mail, right in front of my door, in the mud. There was a single barefoot print facing the house, and beside it, a set of keys I'd never seen before. The tag on them read, "Welcome home." That night, I couldn't relax. I kept all the lights on, even slept with the TV running, but around 2:30 a.m., almost exactly the same time, I woke up to the sound again. Footsteps, slow, dragging. This time, they started from the kitchen. I held my breath. And then the voice came again, closer, louder. "You forgot me." I looked toward the hallway, and for the first time I saw him. A man, standing halfway down the hall, head tilted, body stiff. His clothes were soaked, his face pale and gray, and his eyes were completely black. He didn't move. He didn't blink. He just whispered, "You live in my house." I stumbled backward, dropped my phone, and ran into the bathroom, locking the door. He followed. I could hear his wet footsteps stop right outside. And then, he started talking again. But this time, his voice was mine. Exact same tone, exact same words I'd said earlier that night, over and over. "Hello? Is anyone there?" He repeated it again and again, like an echo that didn't belong to the house. I stayed in the bathroom until sunrise. When I finally came out, everything was quiet again. The front door was open, and the keys were gone. I called the landlord later that day, trying to make sense of it. He sounded surprised when I told him what happened. He said, "Sir, that house hasn't been rented for years. You're the first person to move in since the accident." I asked, "What accident?" He hesitated, then said, "The last tenant drowned in the basement on Halloween night, trying to get out after the flood." I didn't ask more. I just packed and left that same day. That was 3 years ago. But sometimes, when I drive past that neighborhood, I still see the porch light flickering. And every Halloween, around 2:30 a.m., I get a call from an unknown number. When I answer, all I hear is my own voice saying, "You left me outside." If you ever move into a cheap old house and someone says it's been empty for years, check the floorboards, listen at night, and never leave the door open after midnight. Because sometimes, the house isn't waiting for you. It's waiting to let something back in.